Welcome to our Instagram Aesthetics with Catie. So Catie is a coach on my team, and we actually met when she came to one of my PIO classes because I was teaching in the old town that I lived in, and she came in, and it was one of those, I don't know if you guys ever experienced this, but I like see people and I'm like, she's going to be on my team. Like, she just had that look and the vibe and the energy and all of that. And then here she is, not only on my team, but a rock star on my team and leading this call. And she has so much knowledge that she's going to share with you guys on not only Instagram things, but also like photo things on how to have a better presence on social media. So Catie, I will let you take it away. I can unmute you or you can unmute yourself and we'll go from there.
All right, I put together a presentation for you guys, so I'm just waiting for it to open up right now, and then I will share my screen and get started. I posted earlier today with a couple things just to have ready. So did everybody see that post as far as downloading the Lightroom, like the Lightroom mobile app and all that stuff? Did everybody see that? Okay, cool. So I really only use Lightroom when it comes to editing my photos. So I'm going to be kind of talking about that. I'm going to try and go through a lot of information in kind of a short amount of time here. So I'm just getting this open. So just a little bit of background on me. So my name's Catie. I have been coaching for just about 8 months now. I guess almost 9. So I've been coaching for some time now, and before that, I initially went to school well, first of all, when I graduated high school, I thought at the time that I wanted to be a photographer, and then I shot a couple of weddings, realized that was not something I wanted to do, to spend all my weekends, like all summer long, basically like at another person's wedding. Like that just didn't sound fun to me at all. So I decided not to do that. And instead I decided to go back, not back, but I changed my major to art education. And I went ahead, got my teaching certification, did student teaching, did all that stuff, and realized that I didn't really think that was for me either. And 2 years later, ended up finding coaching, and now here I am. And this is kind of what I'm looking forward to most about coaching, is the opportunity to teach people like things that I enjoy, things that I like. So I get to be a teacher, like I get to use all those things that make me me, but in a way that is kind of like fulfilling what I want from my life now. So I'm really excited because I put together, almost like a lesson plan for you guys. So I'm just going to go over basically how I take pictures, like how I do different things for Instagram. And then I'm going to give you more or less a tutorial on how to make your own preset for Instagram using Lightroom Mobile. And after this call, I can attach the file with kind of all the information if you want to print that out and be able to refer to it. So let me just go ahead and share my screen with you, and then we will get started. Okay, so can everybody see that? Does that look right? All right, cool. So as you can see, I kind of always have my camera on hand, and then I also painted a lot in college, so I just threw a couple pictures here. So like I said before, I originally was going to go to the Rochester Institute of Technology for photography, and then 6 years later, I ended up graduating with an art ed degree from Buff State. And I love editing stuff on the computer. I'm like totally self-taught in Photoshop, Lightroom, all of that. So first thing I'm going to go over is my biggest struggle when I started coaching, which was what to post. I never knew what to post. I had the hardest time with it. And something that has really helped is Sam, Deed, and myself have buddied up, and we do monthly planning. So monthly post planning. So as you can see right here, I have my planner, and everything that is highlighted in that like periwinkle color, those are all Instagram posts. So not only are we planning what to post about so we can make sure that we're covering different parts of the business, but we also plan out like what we're going to be promoting. So if you can kind of see right there, let me zoom in a little bit more. I have like coaching written down, and then challenge group. And then we come up with different themes for posts. And sometimes I, might differ a little bit and I'll do like an IGTV or something on the same thing, but it just gives me an idea of what I'm going to talk about every day. So that's a good idea. Get a buddy and try to have like a monthly call to plan out what you're going to post, what you're going to talk about, what's coming up in the next month. Is the company launching a new program? Are you promoting a group? Are you promoting a coach sneak peek? Like plan those things out ahead of time. And that way, when you're busy, when you're doing your normal day-to-day life, it's so much easier to be able to just look down and be like, okay, this is what I need to talk about today. This is what I need to talk about in my stories today, whatever. Another thing that I try to do is mix it up. So I don't post like the same selfie over and over again. I post like different things. So this is actually right here is just a little screenshot of like what my top 9 look like as of today. So I don't post the same selfie over and over again. I switch it up. I don't like to post like in the same room. Like I want it to look different, not like I'm just taking the same picture in the same room over and over again. Another thing that you want to do is try to have a transformation in every top 9 pictures, right? We're all health and wellness coaches here, and you don't want anyone to have to scroll through your feed to figure that out or to see that you've had some sort of transformation. So I do my best. Sometimes it's not quite there, but I do my best to keep a transformation in every top 9. So as soon as someone opens my page, if I send them a friend request, they see that there. Another thing that you can do is a theme. So I have this is Sam's feed right down here. And she does a theme where she goes back and forth from this black and white to a quote and then has pictures on the other side. So that's another thing you can do if you want to switch it up. And my last tip that I have for this slide is don't just post about coaching, right? Like you do Beachbody coach. I can't remember who said it. Maybe other people, maybe a bunch of people said it, but you do Beachbody coaching. You're not a Beachbody coach, right? It's not the only thing about you. So you want to post about more than just coaching. So the next thing is taking photos. So I own a DSLR camera and I prefer my iPhone. I prefer taking pictures on my iPhone. It's so much easier when it comes to posting on Instagram, everything like that. So I use my iPhone. Honestly, one of the biggest things that has made a difference in my Instagram feed, in my business, is I scraped some money together and I upgraded to an iPhone X because the camera on it, I'm not joking you guys, I have like a $2,000 DSLR camera and this takes just as good of pictures and it's so much easier to just have it in your pocket all the time. Especially, I know the X and then the iPhone Pluses have portrait mode. That it makes a huge difference. So I don't think that there's any right here that I'm taking in portrait mode, but I have another one further down in my feed that is. If someone else is taking your photo, so I have my boyfriend take pictures for me fairly often. So this is an example right here of a picture that he took for me. Have them zoom out further than you want the picture. That way, if you need to, you can crop something in and you just have a little bit more freedom with the picture. Another big game changer for me is invest $20 in a tripod. I bought mine off of Amazon and both of these 2 top pictures were taken using a tripod. It adjusts, it has different heights on it. I can link it below if you guys really want to see it. And it's getting a little bit like worn out, so I might have to replace it eventually. Maybe I'll get a nicer one. But literally, I think it was $20 and I use it to record all of my videos for my stories during my workout, and I use it to take 90% of my pictures. Another thing that I like to do is in that Lightroom app that I had you guys download, there's a camera, so there's a camera within the app, and it works a little bit different than your phone camera. So right when the app is open, you can see there's these 2 little blue things on the bottom. And if you click the camera one, you can lock the exposure. So if you're taking your own pictures, I don't know if you guys have ever had this happen to you, but like say you set your phone up to take a picture and then you step into the frame and the lighting changes, there's a little like lock on the bottom of the screen and you can hit that lock and lock the exposure. So I know that this top left picture, the one of my back, I used with that lock feature, and I actually have a door open to the right of me, so I had natural light coming in. You always want to have natural light if possible. I've taken selfies with my refrigerator light but I try for natural light as much as possible. And then also I think my next investment is going to be a ring light for sure. But this picture I actually have, so my front door is right here, and I opened my front door, and then I had the camera tripod set up behind me, and then I used that Lightroom app and I locked the exposure so the white on my shirt didn't get blown out really crazy. So those are all things to consider. If you can upgrade your phone, I definitely would say like that's a great investment for your business, just to have a better camera on your phone. And the last tip I have is take lots of pictures. Take lots of pictures to refer off of. As you can see right here, like this is all from not even part of like one little photo shoot kind of thing that Kyle and I did one day. That way you have lots of options. Within Lightroom, I also like that you can create different folders. So I actually have a folder called InstaFeed, and any picture that I like when I'm going through and taking pictures, I'll take maybe 10 to 20 pictures or whatever if I'm trying to get a picture for something. Usually there'll be more than one shot that I like, and I'll save all the ones that I like to that folder. So if there's like a rainy day where you're not feeling cute or you're sick, you don't have something to post, you can go back and find a post. Or if you want to find the picture from your vacation last year, if you went on the cruise or something, it's already there. And I also pre-edit a lot of those. I'll stick my filter on it. So if I need a picture, I can just boom, grab, done. And it just makes things a lot quicker. When it comes to finding ideas for pictures or posts in general, something I like to do is on my phone, like within iPhoto, I have an album just called Post Ideas. And if I'm scrolling Instagram and I see another influencer, another coach, even coaches on our team, a post of theirs that I like the content, I'll just scroll down and screenshot the content. If there's like a pose I like, I'll just usually screenshot the pose, and I save those all to a folder. So if I'm looking for an idea, if I don't have an idea of what I want to do already, I usually go in there and I can find something. Another thing that I like to do, so like this day that we went out and took pictures, I actually went on Pinterest and I looked up like cute pose in field, and I showed those pictures to my boyfriend, and I was like, these are the kind of pictures I want. Like, can you help me take them? And then actually for this top one too, the same thing. Like I had a picture on Pinterest that I found that I just liked how it looked, and I showed him the picture and I was like, this is how I want to pose for this picture. And he literally told me like, put your elbow down, do this. And this was not like a comfortable thing to do, but it looked cute, so I did it, right? So those are all things that I do. I might be a little extra, but for me, I am drawn to things that are aesthetically pleasing. So, my tribe's going to think the same way as me, and I want to make sure that my pictures and my feed look really good. So the next thing that I want to talk about is composition. So there's something called the rule of thirds. And the rule of thirds basically is your eye, so the way your brain works and the way your eyes work when they look at a picture. So if you look at, this isn't my picture, I just pulled this off the internet. If you look at that picture, it's really aesthetically pleasing because there's room up here for your eye to rest, right? And then you look at the seashell and your eye moves around the picture, and it's people want to look at a picture like that. And then this is like a before picture. So this is the original picture, and I had Kyle take it. So somebody else was taking my picture. I had him zoom out further than I wanted him to, so that I could go in and I could crop it based on the rule of thirds and make a better composition, something that someone else is more likely to stop their scroll on Instagram and see that and be like, oh, I like it. Their brain's gonna be like, I like the way that looks. And they're gonna stop and look at it. And then they're maybe gonna read all the mumbo jumbo that you type after it too. So this is before, and then this is after cropping it and putting my filter on it. So this is the fun part. So making your own filter in Lightroom. So I wanna make your filter to match your surroundings. So this was actually something that I heard on a Mandy Kai training. And she was talking about you can't have an all white feed. I think this is what she said. It's probably not exactly right, but it's something like this. You can't have an all white feed if all the walls in your house are orange, right? So work with your surroundings. If you live in the desert, you probably want to have a warmer color scheme to your feed. If you live in Western New York like me, where it's woods and green, I'm gonna, I'm gonna work with that. So I'll just zoom in really quick here. So I have some coach feed. So this is Ashley Molstead. Her feed, you can see when you look at all of this, all of her green colors, she has the filter that she uses makes them more towards blue. She has like a pink pop happening. Raina has this very orange and blue feel to hers, I guess more red now. And then she has the black and white theme going through the middle. You have Mandy Kai, who is like very LA and has this like pastel, neutral kind of feel going. And then I also threw in 2 influencers that I like. So like this girl has like a lot of like yellow and really saturated colors. And then she has kind of desaturated like peachy tones all throughout her feed. So what colors do you gravitate towards? What colors do you want? Like, do you wear a lot? Like for me, personally, my mom makes fun of me that I don't wear enough color. Like all my clothes are black or white or blue or green and like maybe gray. Well, gray too. But as far as like, I don't wear a lot of pink or purple or orange or yellow. So for me, I have I have blue pops. I have green pops. The way that my filter is set up, I don't like stress it with pink a lot. But if you're somebody who likes pink or who wears a lot of red, a lot of orange, like use those colors. Like those are you. So I'm going to teach you guys how to do that now. So if you are creating your filter, the first thing you're going to do is open an example image. So for me, I opened up this image. This is just a raw, unedited picture that I took, and it was using portrait mode on my iPhone. It was actually sitting right where I am right now, which I didn't plan this, but it was sitting right where I am right now. I have a window in front of me. It's like the same size as that window behind me. They're just across from each other. I had my tripod set up on my kitchen table. So you want to open that image and kind of keep in mind the colors you want to pop. You open up the color tab, so that's what it looks like right there, and go to mix, which is this part right here. So we're going to be using a couple of different sliders. I'm just going to go through and define them really quick. So the first slider is called hue. So hue is just a shade of a color. The other one is saturation. So the saturation is basically like how bright or dull the color is, the dominance of the hue. And then luminance is kind of how light or dark the color is, but it's also how muted it is in a way. So what you're gonna do is the hardest part of making a filter, in my opinion, is getting the skin tones right. Because if you make a filter and don't think about the skin tones, like that's one thing you don't wanna look weird, right? You don't wanna be orange, you don't wanna be yellow, you don't wanna look like a zombie. So if you open that mix tool, up top, there's a little thing that looks like this with a circle and 4 arrows around it. You can scroll over anything on the picture, but if you scroll over the skin and then move your finger up and down on the screen, you'll see the red and the orange usually, and they'll change depending on that. And you can go through the luminance, the hue, and the saturation until the skin looks basically like what you want it to look like. So if you look at Ashley Molstad, like she lives in Florida, so she's always super tan and she has her filter set up so she looks tan. For me, I have like kind of yellowy undertones in my skin and I have blonde hair and I don't really like how either of that looks. So I'm really careful about how my skin tone looks. Also in before and after pictures, you want to make sure that your shadows don't look super purpley or weird. So just be careful with the skin tone, and that's something that you might have to go back and tweak, but we'll go back to that. So that is how I use the colors, just to get the skin tone right first. And then after that, as you move through these kind of color bars up top, you can do the same thing where you use that little button to define it, or you can just move these sliders back and forth to get the desired effect. So for example, for yellow, so I have like blonde in the bottom of my hair. So I always turn the saturation on the yellow down and then the luminance up, so it looks like I just had my hair toned, even if it's actually kind of brassy. And then like the same with green. So on this example, I made the green super blue, but on my actual filter, the green is more of a yellow hue. It's whatever you want to do. Same with like the cayenne and the blue. Keep in mind with those, if you're taking pictures outside, it's going to affect how the sky looks a lot. And then for magenta and purple, same thing. Just play with it and get what you like. You know, base it off your color scheme, what kind of colors you want to use. So after you determine all the colors, so this is kind of what it looks like now, you're going to go to the light panel. So it's right to the left of the color. It looks like this. And you can move those sliders to get the desired effect. So There's exposure, contrast, highlights, there's shadows, and then whites and blacks underneath. You can also play around with this curve tool. That's something that on my filter, I think I do have a little bit of a curve. And if you open this panel, you can basically just move that curve up and down. And anything you don't like, you can just hit this little back arrow and go back. Like, just play with it till you like how it looks. And then after that, you're going to go to the effects panel. So on this part, I only really use the clarity and then the dehaze. I don't do much with the vignette. You can if you want to, but I don't. So you can kind of move those back and forth. Moving clarity will make it like sharper and define all the edges. And then dehaze will make either the background kind of like whiter, almost like it's like hazy, or darker. And then the next thing that you're going to do, which in my opinion, this is the biggest thing for making your feed look really cohesive, regardless of where your picture's taken, when it's taken, what the lighting is, which is the split tone. So if I go back up here, you'll see right there it says split tone. So if I scroll down, this is what it looks like when you open it. And you want to kind of think again, like, what's the theme? So for this particular picture, I kind of went with like a teal and purpley theme, where I wanted to keep things in that, I don't know, color field. So I moved the highlights to teal and then the shadows to more of a purpley color. And you can just move this little, I don't know, indicator around. And then at the bottom, you can slide this balance bar back and forth, and your picture will look different no matter where it's at. So here I said, like, if your hair is pink, right, like there's coaches on Beachbody who have pink, purple hair, whatever. So if your hair is pink, like, you would want to have a really pink feel to your feet. So maybe you would make your highlights really pink then. And then the next thing you're going to do, so this is how you save it. So you're going to go to presets. So you have to, it's kind of not showing right here, but if you slide all the way over, you'll see where it says presets. If you click on that, you can do create preset, and then it'll take you to this tab, and then just name your preset from there. And then what I do, so I actually just changed my Instagram filter. If you go on my Instagram, my Instagram name is Catie with a C, and you scroll down more than like 9 pictures, you'll notice that there's a big difference in how my pictures look, because I just changed it. So when I was changing it, what I did was I made like this folder called sample feed, and I made a filter up, and then I put it on all these pictures. You don't have to do it in this many, but I put it on all these pictures, and then I put it on this little color wheel picture that I had you guys save. It's in the event page if you didn't already grab that. And that way I was able to see what the filter looked like on different lighting situations, different places, different kinds of pictures. So when I first made this little preset here, just for this example, I didn't like how the skin tones looked in it. I thought I looked like a little too washed out. So I went back to the colors, and I just, I think I bumped up the red and the orange. I just kind of played with those a little bit just to change what the skin tones looked like. And if you do that, so say you already have a preset saved and you want to change it, you can change it. So if you go to the name of the preset under presets, there's these little dots next to it. If you click those, and you can do update with current settings, and it'll save the preset, and you'll have just tweaked it a little bit. And then you can use it as much as you want. So this is what that picture that I was working with looked like before, and then this is what it looks like after. So I am going to stop my screen share now, and I have not been paying attention to the messages at all, so let me look at these really quick, and then after that I will, oh, okay, so Sam just said that she also shares the plan. So she does. She shares our plan in the Fit Squad page, usually every month, and then she has the link to my tripod. Did you buy the tripod too, Sam?
Yeah, my tripod sucked, and when you told me which one you got, I'm like, I trust you, so I'm going to get the same exact one. So yeah, I have the same one.
Yeah. And yeah, I actually made a Pinterest folder that I called like brand. And when I see pictures that are like, that's the kind of pictures I want to have, that's the kind of clothes I want to have, that's the kind of house I want to have, like whatever, I put them all in that folder. And sometimes I just look at it for inspiration. So do you guys have any questions? If you have any questions, unmute yourself or type it in that little comment bar, and I will do my best to answer them.
That was so amazing. I'm like still trying to understand all the things. And when I was trying to follow along, like with the color and the lighting, and it said that I didn't have enough storage on my phone. So I just deleted like 20 different apps that I don't use anymore. So now
Yeah,
I can.
I'm gonna save that file, that whole presentation I did as a PDF, and I will post it. I can post it on our page or whatever you want me to do.
Awesome.
And go through it. And it's honestly something where like follow the steps, but it took me it took me a pretty decent amount of time to get things the way that I wanted them. And it kind of takes playing with it just to see what's going to work for you.
So I have a question. Is it as easy as once you do all the playing around and coming up with a preset, is it as easy as applying it to all pictures, or if you do a picture like inside, do you have to tweak it a little bit versus if it was a picture outside?
So I apply my preset to all my pictures. And the only thing that I change is sometimes I will go into like the lighting and change that a little bit if I think that that's usually the only thing that I mess with though. Unless for some reason I'm wearing a color that I have set a certain way. So like I have these purple leggings that sometimes I wear them and it makes them look, my preset just makes them look weird. So I'll go into purple, just go into the color for purple on that particular picture, and I make those leggings gray. So like nobody knows I have the purple leggings because in my feed they look gray.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so you can use the preset and then you can tweak something in it if you need to. And once you have it, like for me, I really don't mess with it if anything, I have to tweak the lighting a little bit and that's it.
Okay.
Somebody added a curve can just adjust the entire photo's light. Exactly. Yeah. The curve is just another way to edit the lighting. You can use it if you want to. You don't need to though, especially if you're just starting out. Like if you just use those exposure and then highlight and shadow stuff, that's good. That's something I do a lot is I'll lighten my shadows just because I kind of like to take like high contrasty pictures, just the way that I like to have like a lot of light on one side of my face or something. So sometimes I will lighten the shadows up a little bit, but it's nothing major.
Another question. In the photo that you showed us of like the before and after, and it's you in the woods behind you, and it looked like really the only thing that changed was the woods went from like green to like gray. Did you do something special for that, or that was just your preset automatically changed it?
Taking my preset and cropping it. That's all I did.
Cool. Yep. So easy once you get it down.
Yeah. And that's what I said. Like I have a whole folder of pictures on my phone in Lightroom that are already just edited. One thing I should have actually said is how to get out of Lightroom and to upload something to Instagram. So if you have a picture open in Lightroom, there's a little like box with an arrow right there. If you click that, you can do save to camera roll. And then I usually do maximum available, and it saves that picture right to your camera roll from there. And if you have a picture that's edited, if you touch it and hold it, did you guys just see it switch there? It shows you what the original looked like beforehand. Any other questions? I was really afraid that this was going to be like an hour-long thing, and I got through that way faster than I thought I was going to.
That was awesome. It's so much too. I feel like I'm definitely going to need the notes and like to go back through it.
Yeah.
But one thing I can't remember if you mentioned or not, and I noticed it when I was uploading a picture, is the rule of thirds that you went over. On Instagram, it does it for you. So like if you go to upload a picture, let me just pull one up for example, and you hold your finger down, there's a graph that pops up. So you can kind of see the thirds.
Yep. And then also in Lightroom, if you open a picture and you hit crop, once you kind of start to like grab the edge and move it, it does the same thing. It gives you that grid.
Oh, yeah.
And if I center a picture, like if I say like this was a picture right here, like I would also kind of try to make sure things are pretty spot on centered with that same kind of graph.
Cool. What other questions, guys? I feel like I have a billion, but I won't keep asking them. Was it helpful? I spent entirely way too long researching presets. This is like months ago, researching presets, how to apply them, all of it, like, and then I never did anything with it. So this definitely broke it down and made it simpler.
And it's totally free. Like so many people go out there and buy presets, and then like what happens when you buy a preset? So like I have another app in my phone that I sometimes use because I like that you can like apply textures with it, called a color story. And hold on, there's Design Kit. Sometimes I use those. And like those have presets that you can buy, but then you can't go in and tweak them as much. So like if something looks wrong, like what do you do, right? With this, it's free. You can make it yourself. You can change it if you want to, and you can tweak something if you need to. Where so many people pay like a lot of money. Like, have you ever seen those hashtags where people are like Alexa Jean presets or something? Like people are shelling out money for this stuff, and you can make it on your phone and make it your own thing and make it unique to yourself so easily.
Love it. Madeline said I use Amy Rada's presets in Lightroom and tweak them. So is that free or does she charge for that? How can you find other people's presets? Is that an option?
Yeah, I know you can buy them online.
So I got Amy's from Etsy. She charged something like $5 for 7 presets. And then she charged $1 for 2 more presets. She just made it super affordable. And I have a really similar skin tone and hair color to her. She's a lot darker and more tan than I am. But I love the color, and I love it suits my environment, my surroundings. As you can see, I'm wearing bright orange. So it just worked. It just matched me, sort of, and it worked really well. And so I imported them into Lightroom with her instructions, and I applied them, and I can make my photos really pop. But I do have to set them up with natural light, with like the right angle and stuff like that. But then I tweak them in another free app called Pick Tap Go. And sometimes I don't use her presets at all, but I try to take the photo with as much color and lighting, and then I tweak it or edit it in Pick Tap Go, which is free and pretty much the same, like sliding the bar, choosing the filter and the saturation you want. So
do you use the same preset for every picture though?
No, I don't. I usually alternate between the brighter ones. There are some that make, like one filter will make one type of picture pop and another filter will make another one pop. But maybe I have to tone down one and I'll use a different filter or a different preset for that. And sometimes I don't use her presets at all, but typically like I at least try to see what it does.
Mm-hmm.
So I did buy one for $5 and it came with 3 versions of the same preset. So it's just like a little bit different kind of how you were tweaking them, but I wanted another one. And I just said, I was like, I don't want to keep buying them. I just want to figure out how to make one. So I'm really thankful for this. So thank you.
Yeah. I mean,
you should start selling them.
Me.
Side business. Maybe
I mean, one thing I will say, I think that to have a really cohesive feed, you should use the same preset or like the same version of the preset, like you said, repeatedly. Because if you're using 4 different presets, so I actually used to go between 2. I had like 2 that I would use, and that's the reason I changed it, is because I wanted to have just one that worked better for everything. So I just kind of spent like, I think I was just watching a movie on a Sunday and sat there on my phone. You know what I mean? Like that's something you can do that's gonna, it's not like, I mean, it's not like, kind of like busy work, you know, like it's not something that's super time consuming that you can just kind of do when you're hanging out. So I just sat there and kind of like played with it until it was just how I wanted it, and it would work for all my pictures. And if you pull up my Instagram, so it's Catie, like it's literally Catie with a C is my Instagram feed. I'm way happier with my last like 12 pictures. And then if you scroll down below that, like I was still using a preset, but I think that it looks more cohesive now. Like it looks like the same kind of feel throughout, whereas before it did, but it wasn't quite there because I was going between 2 different ones basically that were similar.
I really like the idea of going to Pinterest and making like a folder of ideas for poses, because so I'm like super awkward. That's why a lot of mine look the same, because like I have one angle that I like, but but the rest
I have one side of my face that I show only.
Like I make really weird faces sometimes, and I'm like, how did I even make that face? So so I like that idea, and I was trying to put some together for Summit I have a few coaches going, so I wanted to like get some group ideas so that we weren't trying to figure that out.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. I love that idea.
Yeah. And I put like random stuff on there. Like I'll look up like Lululemon leggings and like they're like advertisement pictures. Like I'll put that in that folder. Like there's so many or I'll search like messy buns or even like just whatever comes up. Like, you know, if you just open Pinterest and it has an explore page, like if I see something in there that I like or that like, you know, I want my house to look like, I want my pictures to look like, whatever. Like I think it was also Mandy Kai, if you can't tell, I like her. So she was talking about how she like has a folder on her phone of like what she wants her dream house to look like. And sometimes she'll actually post that in her feed too. Like I think about that stuff and I think about that stuff too. Like you guys are going to think I'm crazy right now, but I'll tell you anyways. We've redone, since I started coaching, we've redone 2 rooms in our house. We redid our back porch and then we are redoing our second bedroom as my office right now. And I purposely so the back porch, I did a whole like wood feature wall because in my mind I was like, I can have this for a background on pictures. And when I painted that, and there's also 2 different colors because same thing, I was like, I can have different colors for the background of my pictures. And then for my office, same thing. I have 3 different colors in one room because in my head, I'm like, I can have 3 different colors for backgrounds for pictures. And I'll tell you right now, I have 5 colors in my whole house.
Yeah, my
like,
husband's
because it works with my theme and that's like how I've built myself up and that's part of my brain for me.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, my husband's a carpenter, so I feel like I'm always telling him to make things so that I can like have it in the background of my pictures.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is not how you build. This is not how you remodel a house. I'm like, well, it kind of is happening.
I love that. Do you guys have any other questions? Can you use Lightroom for videos? You could not. There's separate Adobe programs. Like there's a whole Adobe platform, and there are video editing apps, but I find their video editing programs really hard to use out of like all their programs. If you're going to invest in something like a program to buy for your computer, I would also say Lightroom because I just think it's the easiest to use out of all of them. You can pay like a monthly price for Lightroom online that gets taken out of your checking account and then just download that. I did see when I was looking in the App Store that you can buy, I think there are like mobile versions for video editing, but to be totally honest, I mainly just use iMovie and then Color Story are the 2 that I use for videos, which I don't think are the greatest. I think I need to keep looking. I'm not as great at editing video as I am as pictures. I'll be completely honest with you.
Okay, but yeah. I agree. Yeah. It brightens it up.
Yeah.
Cool. Any last questions, you guys? No.
Okay, I will go ahead and save that. Can't even think. I need to eat dinner. I already worked all day before I came home and did this. So my brain is like, I always tell, I'm a bartender and waitress, and I always tell my tables like after 8 o'clock, it's just gone. Like can't remember things. So it's 8:14, so it's time. But I will save that document with that information in there in my notes. And do you want me to put it in the event page or post it as like a file on? What do you want me to do, Sam?
Yeah, post it as a file in Fit Vibes Focus Group as well as Legacy Collective if you can.
Okay, cool. I will do that. If anybody has any other questions, feel free to message me wherever and get a hold of me, and I will do my best to answer them.
Awesome. Thank you, Katie, and thank you so much for everyone hopping on. Look out for the post a little bit. We'll give you till tomorrow to upload it if you want.
Yes, I'm going to eat some dinner. It's like in my Instapot back there. So.
Oh. Well, enjoy, and everyone else have a really good night.
Bye, guys.
Bye.